Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm gonna be doing something interesting now. Actually, I wanted to film this for YouTube. If you guys want to see a full, full tutorial of this look, then I will film it again. Let me know in the comments. But I have a reel that I filmed for this look. It's on my Instagram. You can go check it out. I will leave my Instagram handle here. So today I wanted to do something very interesting, and actually it's 1:30 a.m. I was literally filming this, and tomorrow's Friday, so I did not want to skip a video. So actually I think I should drink some water. Let me just get some water. Okay. I have some water. Finish this so that I don't put it around somewhere and then drop it while I'm talking or trying to grab things. So I'm gonna finish this. These mugs, these are from Mad & Co. They make the best boba in Hyderabad. I really like it, and I try to drink water from this because if I use any other glass, they're just smaller, so I just make sure that I drink a lot of water. So I take in this mug because yeah, anyway, so let's just get back to the video. I wanted to do something very interesting. Now this video is inspired by Morgan Turner. I don't know if you guys watch her or if you guys know her. I will link her channel down below. Absolutely love her. I love her passion for eyeshadow palettes, and I love her collection of eyeshadow palettes. She literally has every eyeshadow palette that's there under the sun. I actually posted a poll on my community tab asking if you guys want to see my eyeshadow palette collection, but then I realized that if I show everything together, it's not going to make any sense. So I thought I will rank my eyeshadow palettes. So today I'm going to be ranking all of the Huda Beauty palettes that I have used, and I'm doing this because Huda Beauty is available in India, and I thought it would be a nice place to start. So yeah, I have not used a lot of palettes. I think maybe around 10 palettes from Huda, and Huda Beauty has got some, I don't know how many palettes, but I think I've used most of her releases, at least one from each release. So I thought I will rank them and let you guys know what are my favorites. And probably if you're in my skin tone, then I think these eyeshadow palettes will work for you. So yeah, let's just get started. I have this palette. This is the Rose Quartz palette, which I bought recently, and I'm not going to be rating this, but I think this probably will be my most favorite because it is such a beautiful palette. I recently got my hands on this, showed it to you guys in the haul, and this is such a beautiful palette. I mean, it is gorgeous, isn't it? So these shades are so gorgeous. I think this could be my most favorite palette, but I will show you guys what my most favorite currently is. But I'm going to be doing a dedicated video with this, and you will see my review in that as well, but I haven't still used it, so yeah, so yeah, this is the Rose Quartz palette, which has not yet released in India. I'm sure it will pretty soon, and yeah, I think it is worth the buy. People are quite divided on Huda Beauty's formula. Some people say that the smaller palettes have better formula. Some people think that the bigger palettes have better formula, but personally I've always loved her bigger palettes, and somehow her small palettes don't work really well for me, at least the ones that I have used. And so yeah, so I'm gonna start with the small palettes. So at number 9 or 10 is the Huda Beauty Pastels palette, and I have it in the shade Mint. Well, this is what the palette looks like. I really like Huda Beauty's packaging, which comes in plastic. I know it's not very environment friendly, but I don't know, somehow I like this packaging better because it feels so much more luxe and so much more sturdy. So earlier her packaging used to be a cardboard packaging. So her minis earlier were great, is what I heard, that the ruby obsessions, the emerald obsessions, the sapphire obsessions, and the gem obsessions. Actually haven't used any of them, so I'm not going to be rating them. If you have some of those, then I'm sorry, but I don't think she's still making any of those. I don't think they are still in production. So this is the least liked palette. I really like the color story of this one, especially this warm tone that you can use as a transition. I like it, but for some reason I don't get much use out of it, so I can just use these two shades. but it doesn't really show up on my skin tone, I think. Especially this shade, it just becomes brown. This one is a very nice shade, but these two shades, they just don't show up on my skin tone. Like I like when I look at the pans, I imagine this shade to look nice, bright and poppy, like this one, what this one looks like on my eyelids. But this one just looks like a light brown, and it just melts into my skin. I know I might have to prime my eyelids or whatever, but this one is my least like palette. My favorite shade is this one. But again, like you say, it kind of hard pans in here, and if you see, it's not very pigmented, it's not great. So yeah, this is the best shade among all of this, but um, if you can see, the payoff is not great. So this is the Huda Beauty Mint Pastels palette. This is my least liked palette, and yeah, so this ranks 8th position, because that one was 9th, because I don't know yet what position it's in. So yeah, this is my least liked palette. I'm sure a lot of people will agree as well, because I'm sure Colourpop makes better palettes than this. But yeah, it's my least liked palette. Now moving on, the next palette is also a pastels palette. This is the Rose Pastels palette. Now again, for the same reasons, I do not like this palette much. I love this particular shade, it's gorgeous, and this one as well. It is such a beautiful shade, but again, the payoff is not great. Like, see, I am trying to you know, do that, and this is all the payoff that I get, and this is like 3 swatches, and it kind of hard pans here, but still it's a very gorgeous palette. This is also a gorgeous shade. Let me just show you that is what the shade looks like. But again, this shade does not look like anything like what it is, you know, what I imagine it to be on my skin tone. Let me just show you. Like, it's like so chalky. Do you see that? It's like when we were young, when we were kids, you'd get like these colored chalk. That is what it looks like, and if that goes on my eyelid, it looks so messy. I hate that shade. Like, literally, it looks so bad on me. But yeah, I think I like the other shades a little bit better. This one also is not so great. It's very chalky, if you can see. Very chalky. So I do not like this palette at all. This is a nice shade. These two shades are great, the ones that I swatched here, the shimmers, but the rest of the palette is not great. But yeah, again, among all of them that I have not bought, so definitely there's a reason why I bought this. There was another one called Lilac Pastels, or Lilac Haze, I think. I'm not sure if there was another pastels palette, not sure, but they were literally like the same shades like this one, which is why I chose to buy this one. And yeah, so that is in the last second position. So one was the Mint Pastels, and this is the Rose Pastels palette. Moving on, the next palette that I have is actually one of my favorites, but in the order of today's palettes, I think this ranks the last third. This is the Khaki Haze palette. Now, Huda Beauty came out with a range of Haze Obsessions palette. So the other ones were the pastels, and then she came out with the haze. So she had sand haze and khaki haze, and something else. The sand haze was again like a literally a dupe of the rose pastels almost. She had like very nice brown tones, warm tones in that, but also like pinky tones, so I didn't want to pick up that. But this one I picked up because it was like greenish, and I wanted something green, something olivey. But I mean, I don't like it for the reason that I bought it, but I like it for what it does for me. So I literally bought it for it to be like a green palette, but there's no green in this, literally. Like, this one looks brown on me, And these two shades are my favorite. They're my go-to. This is like my everyday palette, so I use these two, like 1, 2, 3 shades a lot. If you guys have seen my clean makeup look, I would literally just do with these three. I like this shade on the center of my lid just to brighten it up a little bit, just so that my darkness doesn't peek through. I love this palette, but the shimmers in this are so god awful. I mean, if you look at this, it just hard pans in there. And if I put a brush in that, like, this is what the shade looks like look at the pigmentation. It's just not great at all. But these two shades have completely hard panned, and like, look at that, this shade doesn't even show up on me. This is this one, it's meant to be, and it's like completely hard pan. I don't know if you can notice that. Like, I probably have to scrape it a little bit and then set it again, because it's completely hard pan and it's become dark and blackish. I'm trying to swatch this again, and can you see what it looks like? It looks so bad. So yeah, I love this palette for what it can do for me, but I don't love it for what I bought it for actually. Like, it doesn't serve the purpose. So even this shade is completely hard pan, and it just translates into like a black or like a very darkish shade, and you can barely even see it because it has hard pan so badly. um there, can you see it? You cannot, right? Like, it's, I don't know. So yeah, I'm not a fan of this palette, but I like 1, 2, 3. Even this shade, like, you cannot see it on me at all, but I like this palette for these 3 shades, and that's it. So that is my next favorite palette. So moving on, I was at number 6. At number 5, we have another palette. It's the Toffee, Huda Beauty Toffee brown palette. Now, Huda Beauty came out with these browns actually. One was toffee, one was caramel, and something else. I think she usually comes out with 3 or 4 palettes. So I was so tempted, because browns are something that I really like. So I love soft brown neutral palettes. So I was very tempted when she came out with this collection. But then I was like, okay, no, I'm not going to be doing this. I'm not going to buy all of them. But when I saw this palette, I was like, okay, it's got some character to it, especially the yellow in between. Now, I love this palette for this shade. Actually, it is a different formula actually that she came out with. It's a very textured formula. If you can see, this is where I swatched it. I love this shade. I actually bought this palette for this one, and she's come out with with like different formulas here with different textures. Actually, this is like a marble finish. This is like a glittery finish, but it is very, very soft. This one as well, it's a very nice coppery gold. I mean, look at the difference between this palette and this palette. This palette, the formulation is really nice. And even this yellow, it's not chalky, it's not, there, I've swatched that here. You can definitely build that up, but it is much more of a smoother finish than the Pastels palette. So yeah, this is at number 5. I absolutely love it. I think it is available on Nykaa. I think even the caramel one in this is great. I actually went to Nykaa yesterday and I saw it, and it looks really nice, but it's got more warm tones. Like, it's much more warm, very orangey, very burnt orangey kind of tones. I think even that one is great, but in this range, this is what I got, and I absolutely love this. This one is at number 5. I love the packaging of these small ones. I feel like Huda Beauty has really nailed that pan size. Like, even if you dip a brush in it, it just won't bleed into each other. I feel like she has just like nailed that, because I don't know, just the layout and everything. I love these small pans for that, but personally, I feel like her bigger palettes have better formulation from whatever I've used. Okay, yeah, so before I move on, if I still had that palette, I would have rated it at number 4, because I absolutely love that palette. It was the Huda Beauty Rose Gold Remastered palette. I don't know if you guys have seen my declutter video. You can go check it out. I will link it up here. I actually decluttered it because I had it for so long, but that palette was such a rage. Everybody loved it, and I think even now, like, a lot of makeup artists still have that in their collection because it's like such a go-to palette for brides. And I personally loved it a lot, but I had it for too long, so I had to give it away. If I had it today, it would have ranked on the 4th position. Since I don't have it today, I'm going to talk about another palette that I love, and it is the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette. I absolutely love this. First of all, I think this palette is Huda Beauty's best packaging. I like this better than the Rose Quartz because it's like this holographic packaging, holographic color, I said I didn't want to keep the water because I threw my hairspray right now. I knew I would throw away that water, so I drank it all. Anyway, so I think by far Huda Beauty, the best packaging goes to this palette because I absolutely love this holographic box that she has, and her eyes. And I think I'm happy that she's done away with her eyes now, but this one, gorgeous. Like, this one is the best palette, and I think this one is at number 4 for me. I love the packaging of this one. I love the shades. I love everything. Like, people say that when I wanted to buy this palette, I was like, I already have the mint pastels, why should I get this? But I think I was having a conversation with Nashwa Beauty, and she was like, no way, there are too many shades in this, you definitely need it. I think this is one of the first purchases I made from her, and I absolutely love this palette. It has such a unique character to it. Like, this shade is so stunning. Look at that, it is so gorgeous. Like, this palette has such a character to it. Like, it's so beautiful. Look at that, look at that. Like, it is so gorgeous, and this shade is my favorite. Like, this one is just so beautiful. I'm gonna swatch it here. Look at that, isn't it gorgeous? Just, yep, that. And this formula is the one that she has used in her, or this texture is the one that she's used in her brown toffee brown palette. So this palette came out before those, so this is at number 4. And if you do not have this palette, definitely check it out and buy it during the sale because it is worth your money. It is such a gorgeous, you can just use one of the shimmers and be done. Like, you can use just that and just be done. And I mean, like, she experimented with a lot of textures in this one, and it's so beautiful. Absolutely love it. Love this palette. This comes at number 4. Although I had the mint pastels palette, these shades, I think this is the only shade that is overlapping with that, but this one performs so well, better than the one that's in the mint pastels. Even this shade, which is almost like the shade in the rose pastels, but this one performs like amazingly well, which is why I feel like Huda Beauty big palettes have better formulation. Like, even the rose gold palette that I had, that one, the formula was like out of this world. So creamy, so buttery, so amazing. I love this palette. So that is at number 4. I actually have another mini palette from Huda, which is at number 3 for me. It is the Nude Rich Obsessions palette. Now, if you I think Huda Beauty came out with this Nude Obsessions. She came out with like 3 palettes or something. Now, if you tell me, like, I'm not a fan of the release that she came out with, the range that she came out with, because the medium Obsessions was blah, and the light Obsessions was like, I don't know, even for lighter skin people maybe it works, but the rich Obsession is like if you're anywhere in my skin tone, it's your best friend, it's your best bud. I literally tried to order this twice. I ordered this from Cult Beauty even before it released in India, and the times the shades came broken. I had fixed one of them, and I asked Cult Beauty to like replace my order. They did replace it, but I had to pay customs again, so I almost paid literally the price of the palette again. So I could keep both of them, but I fixed both the palettes. At least in this one there was only one that was not broken, so I just fixed that, and I fixed both the pans in the other palette and I gave it to a friend to use it. But if you're anywhere in my skin tone, or if you're a brown skin girl, this palette is your best friend. Like, you could just have this in your collection and you're good to go. Like, you can create a light eye, a dark eye, a deep eye, like a halo eye for weddings, anything. I mean, the shades are stunning. The transition shades are amazing. It's such a warm toned, pleasant eyeshadow palette. I mean, it serves the purpose for everything. You could use just this shade, just some blush. You could use this shade as a blush and just use it on your eyes and be done. And I mean, it's such a gorgeous palette. Like, amazing. You could just use these two shades and have a look together. You could just use these two shades and have one look. You could just use these two shades and have one look. Just use these two shades and have one look created. I mean, it's gorgeous. It is so, and you can use this as your inner corner. So this is my number 3 palette. I literally have 2 more palettes that I love from Huda Beauty. I'm going to show you guys. But if there's one palette, if you're in my skin tone, if there's one palette that you should get, and if you want to invest only in a mini palette, I would say you should go for this one. Because if you don't have any palette in your collection and if you want to start off with, I would say this one is your go-to. The other palettes are ranked higher than this, but you know, they are like alternatives, or they're like an addition to your collection. But if you don't have an eyeshadow palette, I feel like this, the Rich Nude Obsessions palette from Huda Beauty, is chef's kiss. I love this palette. So this one ranks at number 3. I really like the packaging on this one because I think she started the whole texture thing with this palette. I mean, so even this one has some kind of texture, but it is still plastic. But this has like this suede finish texture, and I think it looks really nice. So yeah, I love Huda Beauty packaging, by the way. They're not like extremely luxurious, but they don't feel cheapish. They feel like someone has put an effort. I like Huda Beauty packaging. They're pretty good. So next palette that I have at number 2 will actually surprise you, because this is one of my favorites, my most loved palettes, but it is at number 2 because at number 1 is something that I love even more. So at number 2 I have the Naughty Nudes palette from Huda Beauty. Now this one is like an extension of the Rich Nudes Obsession palette. So if you see the shades, let me just show you. Like, literally they look like sisters, right? So this is like an extended version of this one, just with more shades, similar kind of shades, but you know, there's still something different about them. So yeah, if you have this, you probably don't need this, but if you just want to buy this, you should go for this one. But this one actually has like some duochromes. So this one is a duochrome because it shifts from a pink to blue. This one is a duochrome. I mean, actually they're called marble finishes in Huda Beauty's palette. This is such a gorgeous shade. Let me just swatch that. I don't know if you can see the blue to pink. I think this is the first palette where she came out with these duochromes, and this one released in 2020, the beginning of 2020, during just when the pandemic hit, and this shade got everyone talking, and it was called Slippery, and it is such a beautiful shade. I feel like it works really well as a highlighter as well, and also as a lip topper as well, also as a lid topper actually. Like, if you want to go for that glossy look and you just want to use a matte shade and then try to add it, I think it looks gorgeous. I think this is the first time she had you know, experimented with marble tones. So let me just swatch that for you. That is such a gorgeous shade. This is the Naughty Nudes palette, which ranks at number 2, and I love it. I think if you can get your hands on this on a sale or something, you should, definitely should. And I think Huda came out with another nudes palette like she had one nude palette and then she came out with the Nude 2. But I didn't like either of them because they were so light. I was so sure that I would not get use out of so many shades in those palettes, which is why I never bought them. But this one, if you're in my skin tone and if you're a brown girl, so this is your nudes palette. So this is like neutral palettes for dark skin tones, and I love it. And it's so like so appropriate for all kinds of looks actually. Like you can create bridal looks with it, you can create everyday looks with it, you can create, you know, fun looks with it. Love it. So yeah, that is at number 2. This is the Naughty Nudes palette from Huda Beauty. I will link everything down below, you can go check them out. Oh, one, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people will be surprised by this, but by far this is the best palette that Huda Beauty has come out with. Hands down my favorite, and it is, I have already made a video also about this palette and I will link it up here, you guys can go check it out. If you guys have been following me, you know which one I'm talking about. It is the Huda Beauty Wild palette, and this is in the Jaguar variant. This is the Wild Jaguar Huda Beauty palette. I, for some reason, just love this palette. It is so unique and yet so easy to use. Like, you know, it's not, it doesn't have to be loud to be unique. I feel like that's what it is. It's so usable and so friendly. I love the black matte, and this black matte is the best black I've ever used. And this shade, like, I personally, I'm such a sucker for, like, I know I showed you guys all these warm shades and you know I love warm neutrals and all that, but I am actually a sucker for cool toned shimmers. Like if you think of like rock chick or chic metal goth makeup look, they don't use warm tones, they always use cool tones. So I think for me, like, shimmer was like a silver shimmer, like a cool toned shimmer or whatever. So this is like the embodiment of that. Like, it is so cool. It is such a rock chick kind of vibe. I love it, and this is my favorite shade. This texture is great as well. Let me just swatch that for you. Can you see that? It is so gorgeous, and this is one of my favorite shades. Oh my god, can you see that payoff? It is so beautiful. I love this palette. Now, in between all of this cool toned shimmer and black and all of that, there's a pop of gold here, which I think is so gorgeous. Like, it's just breaking the whole monotony of the cool tone, and I think that is the highlight of this palette. And I think this is by far like such a cool looking palette. It's got like these, you remember you used to get these Tazos when you were young? So it's literally that, and I don't know, somehow I fell in love with this palette, and I think the formula is the best. The black matte is the best, and you can create so many looks with this. Actually, you can create a black and gold, you can create a brown and gold, you can create cool tone looks with it. You can, I don't know, you can play around with this so much. And yeah, this is my number 1 palette, and I absolutely love it. That is a roundup of all of my Huda Beauty palettes. In fact, the Rose Quartz, I'm excited to use it. I didn't want to show it to you guys today because I didn't want to swatch it yet. I have to click pictures with it, but I'm sure I will love that as well because I think that it's kind of my vibe. I will film a dedicated video with that palette so that you guys can check it out before it comes to India. I will link all the palettes down below, you guys can go check it out. I hope you guys like this format, and let me know what other palettes you would like me to rank. I know I don't have so many palettes from a single brand, but let me know what other palettes you would like to see on my channel. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this was in some way helpful if you're looking to buy a Huda Beauty palette. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's all for today. If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in another video pretty soon. Bye.